Did you have a thought, a follow-up thought? I hear you saying that under the Bosnian structure, there was a mistake. Can you elaborate just a bit to tell us why you think that structure in place now is a mistake?
Well, it was obvious. There was United Nations saying it was going to call in the airstrikes, and then there was NATO, which had in effect to call them in. In the meantime, you were telling the enemy what you were going to do when you could decide to do it. That's no way to conduct anything. Do not use the United Nations for something for which it was not founded. You have 170 nations. They don't all agree that democracy is the best way to conduct affairs. They don't all have the same view as human rights as we have. You can't put executive decisions into their hands about war and peace. What you can use them for, and they're excellent at, is for famine relief, for help to peoples who need it. And they're marvelous at that, and they've done wonderful work in Africa, and we should enhance their capability of doing that, and they're very brave and courageous people who do it.
President Bush?
Whatever you want, the fact is Saddam Hussein would still be in Kuwait and probably right down the Gulf and in charge of 60% of the world's oil reserves unless George Bush and Britain and other nations had taken action and thrown the tyrant out. First, countries are not rich in proportion to their natural resources. If they were, Russia would now be the richest country in the world. Angola would be very rich, and there are many other countries that have a lot of natural resources, but they have not had an enterprise economy to develop those resources. Russia has everything: oil, gas, diamonds, platinum, gold, silver, timber, marvelous soil, but has been poor. She's also, on the second point, got very bad environment. The Aral Sea, the effluent coming out of many factories, the poisonous gases not taken away so the air made pure. I remember going to one communist country in about the 60s and seeing a powder coming out of a chimney of brown gas, which of course is a nitrous gas. And I was absolutely horrified. I said, well, what are you doing letting that happen? The lungs of the people must be terrible. This is acid. You can't let that go on. Tact has never been my strong point, as you know. And I just thought it ridiculous. And I said we wouldn't have it. I've been to many since, and sometimes the parents would tell me their children could not go out. I remember in Czechoslovakia in winter because the awful atmosphere was so terrible. So it is not the free enterprise countries that believed in liberty under a rule of law with free enterprise and a market economy that are responsible. They have created the wealth. It is the countries that have had the wrong system, which have not created the wealth, have not cared about people, and that is why Mr. Gorbachev left that system and came to a system which will create the wealth. It will create the wealth in Angola, it will create the wealth in Tanganyika, but not if you deny the people the enterprise to tap it and get it. Look at the other side. Japan, no natural resources. Switzerland, no natural resources. Taiwan, no natural resources. Hong Kong, no natural resources. The same Chinese people as in China. It is the political system which enhances the enterprise of the people and gives it a framework within which to operate, which will deal with this poverty, and should, and the sooner the better.
A comment. So far as tariffs and protectionism is concerned, this should be a two-way street. The Soviet Union was not given access to United States markets, and George remembers that it was very difficult to reach agreement on trade and to get it ratified in Congress, and other countries have even more difficulty getting access to your markets, so it should be a two-way street.
Mrs. Thatcher, Mrs. Thatcher, I'm going to give you 10 of my 20 seconds.
To answer this question as well.
Just for a final thought.
Was not in fact given access to, of course, United States markets were. You cannot have competition between a country which is all nationalized industries and heavy subsidies against one which, of course, is totally on a competitive basis. But now they're on a different basis. What these countries want is investment. They want investment from the West, and they'll be doing better. That's my 20 seconds done.
Okay.